All right. Welcome to a special live stream to celebrate 250 years of the United States of America. I know that this is maybe an odd choice since I normally do Star Wars related things, but given that this is a special occasion, I thought, why not? So what we're going to do today is we're just going to have some stories of various Americans over the years. There will be a few songs. We're also going to read the Declaration of Independence. And so first things first, we will do the national anthem. So, and then after that will be the Declaration of Independence. So, we'll go from there. Okay. Full screen on that and go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right. Well, let's check comments. Philosopher, happy birthday, America. You gave us freedom, liberty, and us to be free to watch Star Wars and live safely. Thank you, Founding Fathers. Well said, philosopher. All right. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that hath no, I skipped a line. Will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, yeah, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. All right, let's make this a little bigger so I can not lose my place as easily. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such disillusions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it as once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators, and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the work of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislator to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections, and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And then there is all of the signers. I'm not going to go through all that, unless you really want me to. All right. Okay, now we will go into a few stories. So let's see. The first one is on a guy named Samuel Whitmore. He was born in Charleston, Massachusetts in 1694, the second son by that name of Samuel Whitmore Sr. and Hannah Ricks. He served in King George's War and was involved in the capture of the French stronghold in 1745. He then moved to Menotomy, Massachusetts, which is present-day Arlington, and Yeah, but then we go to the American Revolution. On April 19th, 1775, British forces were returning to Boston from the battles of Lexington and Concord, the opening engagements of the war. On their march, they were continually shot at by American militiamen. Whitmore was in his fields when he spotted an approaching British relief brigade under Earl Percy, sent to assist the retreat. Whitmore loaded his musket and ambushed the British grenadiers of the 47th Regiment of Foot from behind a nearby stone wall, killing one soldier. He then drew his dueling pistols, killed a second grenadier, and mortally wounded a third. By the time Whitmore had fired his third shot, a British detachment had reached his position. Whitmore drew his sword and attacked. He was subsequently shot in the face, bayoneted numerous times, and left for dead in a pool of blood. He was found by colonial forces trying to load his musket to resume the fight. He was taken to Dr. Cotton Tufts of Medford, who perceived no hope for his survival. However, Whitmore recovered and lived another 18 years until dying of natural causes at the age of 98. All right, we'll go through some of these others. We have Henry Knox. From Henry Knox's days as a teenage street brawler in Boston, fighting was in his blood. Although the co-founder of the Boston Grenadier Corps lacked a military education, he knew where to find it, on the shelves of his shop, the London bookstore. The plump 24-year-old bookseller quickly impressed George Washington when he arrived in 1775 to take command of the Continental Army during the siege of Boston. Knox was really responsible for the Patriots' first victory when they forced the British out of Boston, according to Jack Kelly, author of the book Band of Giants, the amateur soldiers who won America's independence. Tasked with transporting cannons from the recently captured Fort Ticonderoga, Knox managed to move the heavy artillery over 300 miles of winter terrain. Using enormous ox-drawn sleds until they pointed at the British from Dorchester Heights and forced their evacuation. Washington, who Kelly says had an extraordinary knack for reading men and sensing ability, chose Knox over more experienced veterans as his chief artillery officer. Knox managed the logistics for Washington's crossing of the Delaware River and ran the siege at Yorktown that forced the British to surrender. Washington's trusted advisor also served as the first Secretary of War for the new United States. And then we have Nathaniel Greene. Was an unlikely military hero. Born a Quaker, raised a pacifist, and afflicted with asthma. The Rhode Island native was even denied election as an officer in the Kentish Guard militia he helped to form in 1774 because of his pronounced limp. Greene, however, taught himself to be a great soldier by reading books on military tactics, leadership, and fortifications that he purchased from Knox on trips to Boston and caught Washington's eye. He had never been in a battle in his life, yet Washington saw his talent. Kelly says, Greene was appointed the youngest brigadier general in the Constitutional Army in 1775 and was promoted to major general under Washington the following year. After successes at the battles of Trenton and Germantown, Greene served ably as a quartermaster after Valley Forge and as commander-in-chief of the Southern Army in a campaign that forced British commander Charles Lord Cornwallis out of the Carolinas as a prelude to Yorktown. He was thought of so highly that it was traditionally thought that Washington would have chosen Greene to be commander-in-chief of the Continental Army had anything happened to him, Kelly says. John Stark. When news of the shots fired at Lexington and Concord on April 19, 1775 reached John Stark in New Hampshire, The following day, the 46-year-old farmer and sawmill operator immediately recruited 400 men and marched to Boston. The French and Indian War veteran led his regiment into the Battle of Bunker Hill on June 17th, 1775, and posted them in a noticeable gap in the Patriots' defense from which they prevented the British from getting around the American line. If the British had gotten into the rear, the Patriots would have been routed, Kelly says, so Stark saved the day at Bunker Hill. While the Patriots ultimately lost the battle, thanks to Stark, they inflicted severe casualties on the British. 2 years later, Stark's militia stopped the momentum of the British advance from Canada at the Battle of Bennington. When the elderly Stark sent his regrets for his inability to attend an 1809 reunion of veterans from that battle, he closed with the exhortation, "Live free or die," which was adopted as the New Hampshire state motto in 1945. All right, we'll take a little break from stories and we'll do another song. Okay, let's get back to some people. Let's see. Okay. All right, we'll do a few more. Let's see. Let's share the screen so we can see. Okay, sure. There you go. Okay. Daniel Morgan. He grew up on the frontier and for fun fought in no-holds-barred brawls. In the summer of 1775, the rowdy Virginian answered the call for volunteers and commanded the first troops specifically recruited for a national army by the Continental Congress. Morgan's group of backwoods Virginia riflemen participated in the siege of Boston and answered Washington's call for recruits in the failed invasion of Canada. Nicknamed Old Wagoner For his work driving supplies during the French and Indian War, Morgan spent a year as a prisoner of war after being captured in Quebec in December 1775. Receiving the rank of colonel after his release, Morgan fought at the Battle of Saratoga in 1777. 3 years after that, he was promoted to brigadier general and given command of Light Infantry Corps during the Southern Campaign. His most memorable victory came on January 17th, 1781, with a stunning triumph at the Battle of Cowpens in South Carolina. Then we have Anthony Wayne. Anthony Wayne's schoolmaster said he would never become a scholar, but he thought perhaps he could become a soldier because of how he organized all the schoolboys in mock battles and attacks. The schoolmaster proved prescient. Wayne raised a militia unit at the start of the Revolution, and his Pennsylvania regiment participated in the failed invasion of Canada. In 1777, he led his men against the British at Brandywine and Germantown, near his boyhood home, before spending the winter at Valley Forge. In 1779, Washington ordered Wayne to storm the seemingly impregnable cliffside fortifications held by the British at Stony Point, New York. The daring nighttime assault in which his men employed only bayonets as weapons lasted a mere 30 minutes and earned the brigadier general the moniker of Mad Anthony Wayne. Okay. Now we're going to... Okay, so now we have something a little different. Sybil Luddington, at the tender age of 16, rode 40 miles through the night to alert American colonial forces to the British approach in 1777. Her courageous ride is sometimes compared to that of Paul Revere, but many are unaware of her contribution. She set out on horseback, covering twice the distance of Revere. Her bravery inspired the local militia to gather and prepare for battle. Oh, let's share the tab. All right, then we have Bass Reeves, someone from the 1800s. Bass Reeves was one of the first black U.S. deputy marshals west of the Mississippi River. Serving for over 3 decades, Reeves arrested more than 3,000 felons, showcasing unmatched dedication and bravery. Born into slavery, he escaped during the Civil War and lived among Native Americans, learning their languages. This experience served him well in his law enforcement career. His keen detective skills and sharpshooting prowess made him legendary. Many believe his life inspired the iconic character of the Lone Ranger. Reeves' story is one of resilience and excellence against the odds. Clara Moss made the ultimate sacrifice in the fight against yellow fever. As a nurse, she volunteered to be bitten by infected mosquitoes to aid research efforts. Her bravery provided crucial insights into the transmission of the disease, leading to advancements in public health. Sadly, she succumbed to the illness, highlighting the risks involved in medical research. Her contribution to science and medicine underscores the importance of selflessness and courage in the pursuit of knowledge. Moss is remembered for her compassion and willingness to help humanity, even at great personal risk. Deborah Sampson disguised herself as a man to fight in the American Revolutionary War. Her determination led her to enlist under the name Robert Shirtliff, where she displayed remarkable bravery and skill. Despite the risk of discovery, Sampson fought valiantly, even tending to her wounds to keep her secret. Her service was finally recognized when she was honorably discharged. Sampson's story is a testament to the courage and tenacity of women throughout history. Her legacy continues to inspire those who challenge traditional roles and fight for their convictions. Robert Smalls. was an enslaved African American who became a naval hero during the Civil War. He commandeered a Confederate steamer, the CSS Planter, and delivered it to Union forces, securing freedom for himself and his crew. His daring escape demonstrated an immense bravery and strategic thinking. Smalls went on to serve in the Union Navy and later became a U.S. congressman. Hiram Rhodes Revels broke racial barriers by becoming the first African American U.S. Senator in 1870. Representing Mississippi during the Reconstruction era, Revels was a strong advocate for racial equality and educational opportunities. His election marked a significant milestone in American history, symbolizing hope for progress during a time of great national change. Fred Korematsu challenged the U.S. government's internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. His defiance led to a historic Supreme Court case that questioned the constitutionality of internment. Though he initially lost, Korematsu's case became a cornerstone for civil liberties discussions in America. Benjamin Banneker was a free African American astronomer, mathematician, and almanac author in the late 18th century. He played a crucial role in surveying the land that became Washington, D.C. Banneker's intellect and contributions to science and engineering were extraordinary given the racial barriers of his time. Okay. Irina Sendler, a Polish social worker, saved over 2,500 Jewish children during the Holocaust. Operating under the code name Jolanta, she smuggled children out of the Warsaw Ghetto, providing them with false identities and safe homes. Sendler's courage and ingenuity were paramount in assuring their survival. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain was a Union Army officer known for his heroic stand at the Battle of Gettysburg. His leadership at Little Round Top was crucial in securing a Union victory, earning him the Medal of Honor. Originally a college professor, Chamberlain's transition to military leadership was marked by bravery and strategic acumen. His ability to inspire troops and make critical decisions under pressure exemplifies true heroism. Chamberlain's legacy as a military leader and educator continues to be celebrated, highlighting the profound impact of his actions during the Civil War. Then you have Aluda Ekwano, an African who was enslaved, gained freedom, and became a prominent abolitionist in the 18th century. His autobiography, detailing the horrors of slavery, was crucial in the abolitionist movement. Ekwano's eloquence and passion provided a powerful voice for the voiceless, influencing public opinion on slavery. His relentless advocacy for human rights and justice resonates today. Ekwano's life and work are a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the profound impact on one individual can have in the course of history. Elizabeth Petrovich was a Tlingit Native American civil rights activist, played a vital role in fighting discrimination in Alaska. Her tireless advocacy led to the passage of the Alaska Anti-Discrimination Act of 1945. Petrovich's compelling testimony before the Territorial Senate highlighted the injustices faced by Native Americans, swaying public opinion and lawmakers. Her leadership and perseverance were instrumental in advocating civil rights, and her legacy as a trailblazer continues to inspire advocates for equality and justice. Petrovich's work laid the foundation for future civil rights advancements in Alaska and beyond. All right. I think we will do another song if people are. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay. All right, we'll share. Okay. Okay, now let's resume. Oh, this is an odd choice. Molly Pitcher. It's a name given to women who contributed to the American Revolution, with the most famous being Mary Ludwig Hayes. She bravely took her husband's place at a cannon during the Battle of Monmouth, earning her the nickname Molly Pitcher. Her actions symbolized the vital role women played in wartime efforts. The story of Molly Pitcher highlights the courage and tenacity of women in history. Her legacy continues to inspire, reminding us of the significant contributions women have made in American history. Lewis Hayden was a former enslaved person who became a prominent abolitionist and conductor on the Underground Railroad. His home in Boston served as a vital stop for many seeking freedom. Hayden's courageous actions and his commitment to the abolitionist cause were instrumental in aiding countless individuals on their journey to liberty. His work extended beyond helping escapees, as he actively campaigned for equal rights and justice. Hayden's legacy as a leader in the fight against slavery continues to inspire those who advocate for human rights and equality. Was a German student? How does she count as American then? Louis Sockalexis was the first Native American to play professional baseball, paving the way for future athletes. Playing in the late 19th century, Sockalexis faced significant prejudice but remained undeterred. His talent and perseverance on the field earned him admiration and respect from fans and fellow players alike. Sockalexis' impact extends beyond his pioneering presence in baseball. He broke barriers and challenged stereotypes. His legacy inspires athletes from all backgrounds, illustrating the importance of resilience and determination in overcoming obstacles. Nellie Bly was a pioneering investigative journalist known for her daring expose on the conditions of mental asylums. By feigning insanity, she gained entry to a facility and documented the inhumane treatment of patients. Her tenacious reporting led to significant reforms and increased public awareness about mental health. Bly's fearless approach to journalism broke new ground for women in the field. Her legacy as an advocate for social justice and journalistic excellence continues to inspire future generations. James Armistead Lafayette was a pivotal spy during the American Revolutionary War. As an enslaved African American, he worked as a double agent, providing crucial intelligence to the American forces. His work significantly contributed to the American victory at the Battle of Yorktown. After the war, he was granted freedom in recognition of his service. Lafayette's legacy underscores the critical role of espionage and intelligence during wartime, as well as the contributions of African Americans to the nation's founding. Belle Boyd was a Confederate spy during the American Civil War. Her charm and wit enabled her to extract information from Union officers, which she relayed via secret messages. Despite facing arrest and imprisonment, she remained steadfast in her mission. Boyd's story reflects the complexities of loyalty and espionage during turbulent times. Let's see. Ernie Pyle. What did you do? He's a war correspondent during World War II. His vivid and compassionate reporting from the front lines brought the realities of war to the American public. Pyle's ability to capture the human side of conflict endeared him to readers across the nation. His untimely death in 1945, while covering the Pacific Theater, marked the loss of a beloved journalist. Pyle's legacy highlights the vital role of war correspondence and the importance of storytelling in times of conflict. Sarah Winnemucca, a Northern Paiute author and activist, tirelessly advocated for Native American rights in the late 19th century. Her eloquent speeches and writings, including her autobiography, brought attention to the struggles and injustices faced by her people. She worked as an interpreter, educator, and advocate, and was instrumental in understanding and pushing policy changes. Her legacy as a trailblazer for Native American rights continues to inspire those who fight for justice and equality. All right. Now we'll do some soldiers from World War II. Private Thomas Baker. During World War II, American Private Thomas Baker faced a life-threatening injury inflicted by the Japanese, but remained unyielding in his resolve. In a remarkable act of bravery, he instructed his squad to leave him, propped against a tree, armed with only a pistol and 8 bullets. When later discovered, Baker lay lifeless with an empty pistol, and the bodies of 8 Japanese soldiers were strewn around him. Next, we have Private Edward Ahrens. In 1944, American Private Edward Ahrens was found clutching a sword and surrounded by the lifeless bodies of 13 Japanese soldiers. Holding on to his last breath, his parting words echoed with stoic pride, "I guess they didn't know I was a Marine." American Lieutenant John Fox met a heroic end by intentionally calling an artillery strike upon his own position. Recognizing that German forces were encroaching upon him, this selfless act served as a critical delay, allowing other American units to orchestrate a counterattack that eventually secured victory. While serving as a regimental surgeon in Saipan, Japanese soldiers began rushing the field hospital. The first successfully bayoneted a patient, but was almost immediately shot by Salomon, who then shot another 2 Japanese soldiers. Immediately, 4 more Japanese crawled under the tent, so Salomon kicked, bayoneted, and headbutted them all to death. He was eventually overrun, but when his body was recovered, he was surrounded by the bodies of 98 Japanese soldiers and riddled with 70 bullet wounds. His bravery saved the lives of 33 wounded men in his tent and held off a Japanese advance for a considerable amount of time. Alvin York was part of a group assigned to eliminate a well-protected German machine gun position during World War II. The mission took a grim turn when they were spotted by the enemy and came under heavy fire. Most of his comrades fled, but York courageously stood his ground against 32 enemy gunners. In his own words, he recalled that he didn't have time to seek cover or lie low. Instead, he fired at the German gunners with incredible accuracy, downing the first 20 with his rifle. Facing an assault by 5 Germans from the side, York pulled out his Colt 45 and smoked them all, likening the situation to hunting wild turkeys. Confused by his exceptional bravery, a German lieutenant named Paul Jürgen Vollmer assumed York was English and asked him to stop shooting. When York revealed he was American, Vollmer surrendered, leading to 133 German soldiers surrendering to York. All right, and I think we'll end with one more song, probably. Let's see, let's find a good one. Let's see. Get rid of that. Here, we'll just start. Okay, there. Let's see. Maybe not. We'll just end it. Okay. Well, that was lots of stories about Americans. In this stream, I wanted to highlight lesser people that aren't like covered about. Yeah, we easily could have talked about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and all of the founding fathers, but they always get the spotlight where some of these lesser known people don't, and I felt like let's do that instead. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that, this different little live stream. Yeah, it's going to be a short one today, which is fine. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who watched. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Star Wars will be back. Don't worry.